James, before we get to this historic handshake, which is set to take place on Tuesday, there are a string of other meetings and reunions that are in the diary. Talk us through what's happening on this resort island this Monday.
Yeah, well, indeed, Kim Jong-un arrived yesterday on a plane directly from North Korea. He was greeted here by Prime Minister Lee. Both men had a bilateral meeting. Now, we've been able to see some pictures of that. And then this morning, indeed, it's Donald Trump who arrived on board Air Force One, landed in a military base here. And he is also due to meet the Prime Minister of Singapore today for bilateral talks. The summit itself will be taking place tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock on the island of Sentosa, with both men arriving around 8. Now, there's already a security check system at the entrance of that island. There's one bridge that leads to that island where there is a high luxury resort where the talks are due to be taking place. We've been told that indeed there's been a lot of traffic congestion already. Kim Jong-un is said to be staying at the St. Regis Hotel. Donald Trump at the Shangri-La Hotel here in Singapore, and both men will be indeed moving tomorrow to attend this bilateral talk.
Now, James, just on that point, details are, of course, slowly trickling in on what the shape and the form of what this first historic meeting will look like and take. What are both sides looking to achieve?
Well, basically, the American administration would like to see a complete denuclearization of North Korea, something which the administration is hoping is going to be swift, verifiable, but it does appear that's going to be very, very difficult to achieve. The American experts consider that it could take anything between 8 and 15 years to denuclearize North Korea. As far as the North Korean side, well, what they want is basically the guarantee that there will be no US aggression against North Korea. They see it, of course, as the denuclearization of the whole Korean peninsula. So that means their own program, but also it means the US nuclear umbrella over South Korea, as well of course, a reduction of the amount of American troops. Of course, one of the objectives on the sidelines is to move towards peace on the Korean peninsula. As you know, there is a demilitarized zone between both countries. They actually never signed a peace accord. It's only a ceasefire. It's actually South Korea that refused to sign a peace treaty back in 1953. So maybe there will be steps in that direction. And some experts even believe that there is a possibility that maybe Moon Jae-in would, the South Korean Prime Minister, could eventually arrive at some stage and something could be signed here. Of course, that would be very, very historic indeed. But of course, as far as denuclearization is concerned, the two positions are rather different between the US and North Korea.
Now, James, you, of course, have been one of the rare Western journalists who have been granted access to go and film inside North Korea in the past. Given those experiences that you've had there, how easy will it be for the US to negotiate this kind of peace with what is effectively one of the world's most shut off and secretive states?
Yeah, absolutely. For Western intelligence, North Korea is very much considered as a black hole as far as information is concerned. It's important to note that 80% of the country is actually made of mountains, and it is believed that there are some subterranean plants and facilities that are under those mountains, and nobody really knows exactly what's there, apart from the North Koreans themselves, of course. Now, when I went there back in 2013, I did attend one of these great military parades where Kim Jong-un was showing off, of course, his military hardware on the main square in Pyongyang. And it's important to understand that the nuclear program for North Korea is something that's been going on throughout the Kim dynasty. It's 3 generations of Kim leaders who've been working to get to this specific stage. It's important to note that none of them ever actually threatened to use their nuclear arsenal to attack anybody. They've always seen it as a deterrent for a foreign attack on their own American soil and a guarantee for the regime to carry on. Now, right now what's happening is that this is the final stage of this program, the moment where indeed Kim Jong-un gets to meet the US president and negotiate some sort of pact of non-aggression. And the big question mark is, will he find that he gets enough guarantees during these talks to actually move towards denuclearization? One thing which is important to note is that over the past few weeks he has changed 3 of his top generals in the army, and that is a sign that he is willing to make moves.